Gentlemen, I'll start with Mr. Dsane. What are your thoughts about this particular phenomenon?
Quickly say good morning to the president, his man and his woman, and so everybody who is watching us now. This is a crisis, and it's been around for a long time. I think I've had a program on a GTV years ago where it was flooded around Nigeria. There was a gang there that was bringing it to Accra and all that. Well, what do? These are drugs that if you take it once, twice, thrice, the challenge is that it becomes addictive. And the addiction is that you constantly crave to have this drug.
So your body becomes dependent on it?
Yes, it becomes very dependent on it, which is rather unfortunate. So that is the problem. The problem is that it's very addictive, and it's at a certain stage will allow you to start hallucinating and getting deluded and saying things that you shouldn't be saying. And then sometimes you end up committing crimes that you didn't think you could do, like murder, like heinous crimes. So generally speaking, when we get clients who come onto our units, the first thing you do is to take a blood sample in respect of, taking data and all that, to culture the blood and see whether there's any illicit drug within the blood. It gives us an assessment as to where this person is coming from and what is going on in his body. I think generally this, coca leaves in parts of South America, it used to be a stimulant. It is very common in the way they use it. But when it is concentrated in high dosages, then it becomes a problem. It is used in surgery. Some of these drugs are used in surgery for pain, as a painkiller. But you have it commonly, like we are saying today, that some drivers, we believe some taxi drivers, some people walking around, take it as if it's a joke. And peer pressure. Oh, try it. It will work for you. It's no problem. It will allow you to work all day, all night. You will sleep. And that becomes a danger. So we need to find out where it is coming from initially and how to stop it. The ports should be a place that we can look at. Or even cargo shipment at the airport is another area that you can look at. What can you do? It's also advise young men to refrain from drugs. They start with marijuana, especially the teenage, adolescent age where peer pressure and wanting to try everything that is, you have friends who say, hey, Charlie, try it, this is nice. And then they keep, moving up. And by the time you realize it's become an addiction. It's a very sad story. You can't have a child looking after a child, going to school, going to university, and then eventually find that he's addicted to drugs. It's a terrible thing to happen to a child. So we must all fight this. To start from the borders, the customs, who monitor these things, and the shipment. Last understanding, the West Coast, the West Coast, the Gulf of Guinea has become an area for illicit drugs to be going through, gun running, and all sorts of things, because the Europeans have been able to choke them up. So if you get it from South Africa, down South Africa, and then down to West Africa, we are laughing all the way to the bank. We should try and monitor how the shipment of goods are moving these days, especially with the Gaza war that is going on. We find the Suez Canal is not a place where ships are going through. They're all going through South Africa, West Coast, and into Western Europe. So I think Kafui, this is what I have to say about drug addiction. It's such a challenge. Sometimes they say don't use the word problem, but it is a problem, and we must tackle it as a problem.
Okay. Before I come through to Professor Bruce, let me speak with former CEO of the Mental Health Authority, Professor Kuuku Dsane, who's on the line right now. Prof, Happy New Year to you. Excuse me.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're following this opioid wave that is sweeping through West Africa with these drugs coming in from India. What are your thoughts on this particular development following this BBC investigation?
Well, it's really very serious, and we should find a way of solving it. Already, we have a lot of challenges, mental health issues, and we are even finding it difficult to solve them addiction problems, a lot, and this is going to add to that. And there is no doubt that if you do not solve it in the next 1 year, you may call it a boom of mental health issues, serious mental health issues, not only mental, but physical issues too. And so it's very concerning.
What do opioids do to people who ingest them?
Well, to start with, opioid is an addictive drug. By its very nature, it tends to cause sleep. But it also has a euphoric effect, and that means it tends to make you quite happy, it tends to make you elated. And it is that elation which causes people to take more and more of it, and then they get addicted. And it changes the brain structure, and that is where the addiction comes in. It alters the brain function, makes the brain dependent on it once you get hooked to it. And then you want to go for more and more of it. It has effects on the heart, it has effects on the lungs, it has various effects. It can even lead to epilepsy, seizure, and various complications. And so opioid does a lot of harm to the body. But I must say that in this original form, opioid is also a medicine that is used with good purposes as a painkiller, a very strong painkiller, which when somebody has undergone surgery and is in pain, we can use opioids to stop the pain. Somebody has sickle cell disease where he has bone crisis, and that's a very, very painful situation. We can use that to stop the pain. Somebody has had an accident, road traffic accident, and is in serious pain. We can use that to stop it. So it has very useful purposes. And somebody is going through a terminal illness where he is going through a lot of pain. He's about to die, but going through pain, and he wants to die peacefully. You can use the pain opioids to stop the pain. But then people misuse it and abuse it, and then we have serious effects.
Is it in any way linked to the plant opium?
It is. It eventually comes from the plant opium. Mm-hmm. But the raw derivative, the raw alkaloids, as the active ingredients, are then called the opiates. Mm. So from the opium, you have the opiates.
Right.
And when you alter the nature of the opiates, and then you synthesize, you take it through the laboratory, and you have the opioids. So the opioids eventually are derivatives from the plant opium.
Is tramadol an opioid?
Sorry?
Is tramadol an opioid?
Tramadol is an opioid.
Okay.
So tramadol, morphine is quite common. Mm-hmm. Tramadol, morphine. In fact, codeine is an opioid. Codeine, which is a painkiller. So those are the useful ones, laboratory-derived useful ones for medicinal purposes. So tramadol, codeine, but even then you realize that the tramadol normally you give to a certain dosage for medicinal purposes.
Right.
But when it's being abused, people double, triple, quadruple the dosage, and that is where the harm comes in.
What are the telltale signs of someone who is taking opioids?
To start with, the person, once, as I said, opioid is a very highly addictive drug. So if you take it in the moderate quantities and the dosages, it won't cause any addiction. You'll be like any other normal person. But if you take it beyond the dosage that is required, which in this case we are using for recreational purposes, then you begin to you become addicted. Then the signs of addiction will then begin to show. You will lose interest in any other thing. Your interest goes into this thing alone. You become careless with your own life. You become confused. You become, in fact, when somebody looks at your eyes, you will realize that the pupil, which is a small hole in the eye, is elated. And so it's widened broader than normally should be. So these are things you can see. And then, as I said, your whole lifestyle begins to change for the worse. Your company changes, the people that you want to move with changes. You may initially want to isolate yourself from your normal group of people, then move into other groups. So these are telltale signs that you see somebody is on an addictive drug, and opioid in particular.
What is the treatment, and what are the challenges in getting somebody off opioids?
To start with, if it's an injectable you use for injection, that is more serious. The one that you are not injecting, you are taking medicines, you are using as oral medication, that is more easily treatable. But once it gets injectables, then that one you become highly dependent almost every 2 hours, depends on your extent of addiction. Almost every 2 hours or 4 hours or maximum 6 hours, you need a repeat of it. And that means that, and it's quite expensive. So all the money you have on you spend on it. And then after you spend all your money, then you go into borrowing and stealing from other people. And then also goes with a lot of lying. You need to lie to be able to get the money. So all that is part of it. And then if you don't get it, you feel like yawning so much, running nose, and then you might even collapse. And for that reason, and then your body will also go through a lot of pain. And for that reason, that is why you need to go for more to stop it. And once you go for more, it stops it. But after a little while, when the blood volume or is going out of the blood system, you need to go for more, because otherwise those other features or pleasant features will come out to you. And that is the danger of it.
In your practice, what was the success rate for you dealing with people who were trying to get off an opioid addiction?
It's not easy. I would say that once people get addicted, yes, they can be treated. You put them on the ward, make sure they don't get it, plus other medications you use to stop the crave. You call it the crave. And then what they also call cold stacking, because without it, then you begin to develop some cold, like stacking that is cold. So cold stacking is all part of it. Now you put a person on the ward, and then you try to take him through the cold stacking painlessly. But then he gets out, and then he is likely to go back. Indeed, people who get dependent on these drugs will eventually go through 6 times of treatment, relapse before eventually they get out. So it's not that easy. You have malaria, you treat it. Once your malaria is treated, you are fine. But this one, they are likely to go back to the condition. And that is what makes it challenging. But eventually, if they persevere on the treatment, they will get out. Good number, about the success rate is quite high if they persevere. But as I said, before they persevere, many people will drop out and may not come back.
Finally, what's your recommendation as far as opioids are concerned in terms of the availability on the market and all that stuff?
Well, this means more responsibility on the FDA. To start with, our borders, the security force, our immigration force, they should be tighter with their measures to stop it. Very tight measures. And then, no matter what, some will come into the system anyway. And that is where FDA with this surveillance will also need to up their game. I'm not saying they're not doing well, but given the information you're having, they need to up their game so that they can catch those that are out in the system. And once they detect it, then of course it should be confiscated.
Professor Kuuku Dsane, thank you so much for your insights. I wish you a good day. Professor Osei, former CEO of the Mental Health Authority. Prof. Bruce.
That is a good body to.
Yes, opioids. You saw the documentary.
Yes. Any form of addiction is very serious.
Yeah.
Drug or even ordinary life things. Food, alcohol, everything. Even playing drugs, people can become addicted to it. Food, people can become addicted to it. There's too much of everything will obviously affect you. But in this case, Prof has gone into the chemical side and its effect and all that on mental health. My brother also have said it. I want to look at it from the biopsychosocial point of view. I want to start with this, that you see, it is very difficult for people who are going through addictive phase of their dependence on drug to be treated even using any form of cognitive or behavior therapy. Very, 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 very difficult, unless you submit yourself to what you call aversive therapy, or maybe you submit yourself to be put to cell so that you don't have access to whichever drug you have become addicted to, including opioid. So we want to warn people that it is sad to find yourself in this situation. But how did this start? It's also nobody is born to become addicted to any sort of drug, but it has a social dimension. For example, all those who go into drug addiction, there is something we call, they are looking for self-identity. They have lost their self-identity, maybe as a result of the parenting style they have gone through. If you are from a neglecting parenting style home, they don't care about you, whether you wear this, whether you go to school. No, they will not pay you attention. They won't show any love. They won't show any care. So you ask yourself, who am I? I have parents, but I don't seem to be loved. They don't give me any attention. So to fill that void, which we call in psychology deprivation neurosis, you go and look for somebody who can supplement all these things to you. So if I come to you, Kafui, you're a weed smoker. For me to get that love, that which I'm searching for, and you are giving me, I have to maintain my contact with you, and I'll begin to smoke so that you can carry me. That is what is happening. So we want to appeal to parents that it is very, very, very important that you become more or less somehow authoritative. You tell them why, but you guide them as to what to do. But if you are authoritarian, do this or this, your child can become adamant and leave the home. And when he leaves the home, he has to join himself to a company that will keep him and provide him shelter, food, and all those things. That is where all these things is coming from. So if I join a peer group and they are smoking or using opioid, I have to use it in order to feel or feel belongingness. Otherwise, they'll reject you. And you go back to the situation that your parents cannot provide. So parenting style is very, very important. We need to appeal to all parents that take good care of your children, especially when they come to the adolescent stage, which we describe as storm and stress stage. The least thing they want to find fulfillment, the least remark you make about them, the least rejection they suspect from you, they will leave you and go and find their own way. And so please, it is not easy to become addicted to opioid. You lose your consciousness, your memory system is affected, you cannot engage in learning, recall, or retention of whatever you learn. It affects your consciousness. You cannot do anything meaningful with your life again. You have lost your self-esteem, and when people look at you, they know that you are on drug. I have seen many number of patients. You feel pity for them because they have drawn themselves into such a state. Now we parents to sometimes, in be to look for money, to look after our children, we leave them in the care of some other people. Those people, they cannot do exactly as you do as the biological parents. Sometimes it's not about giving money to your child. I am in UK, do this, do this. They live this freestyle. And so when they have the money, their parents are not there. They will have to look for a parental substitute. That parental substitute is an adult who is engaged in this business, selling opioid, heroin, cocaine, and all those things. I find myself in there. So let's look at the parental background. And if we're able to do a good job as parents, our children will not be pushing this. I will not give birth to a child and expect that he should become a drug addict. I have to do everything to protect him. And our educational system also. If you cannot memorize, seek for the right answer, and make the grade, you become a delinquent child. Nobody likes you in that school. And so when you go, people are laughing at you. Those who are your seniors, they also become delinquents. You have to go and join them. What do? They engage in any antisocial behavior, and then you become a member of that group.
Absolutely.
So there are environmental factors that are predisposing factors in pushing somebody into becoming a drug addict. So when we look at all these things, society too, we have to rise up. But blaming a factory somewhere, for them, there are some people, they don't care. They are just to make money.
I think you saw it.
They will tell you, I didn't force you to use my drug.
Yeah.
You went voluntarily and did it. So if you take him to court, you are not going to win.
So we need to be tight here.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you dealt with addicts before in your
Yes,
work?
yes.
What's it like? What's the worst case that ever you dealt with and you were able to help?
I've had clients who, my client base are people who commit heinous crimes like murder, arson, rape, and all that.
Wow.
Yes. So, generally speaking, they are the type of characters where we need to immediately assess whether there's an influence of cocaine or any of these drugs in the blood. So I say the first few days on the ward, we need to track these things up. Rehabilitation is very, very difficult. You understand? And even you need special units to keep them in there. But almost invariably, drugs are smuggled into the unit by other relatives or friends, through pockets, through socks, through shoes. So, you know, it needs management and a long-term management.
Don't you fear for your life when you deal with people who have gone through
Well,
this?
we are trained for that. We train for that. We train in conversations. It's a whole clinical work that you do with medicine and psychology and all sorts of characters, a multidisciplinary team.
We normally think of men getting involved in these things, but you have women also getting involved.
Yes. A drug addiction is in fact, a lot of pop stars that you see in the United States and in UK, in Western world, end up sometimes even killing themselves from overdoses. They get involved in these drugs and it elates them. And you know, when you're depressed and you take it, it bumps your spirit up. It makes you feel good, the feel-good factor. But it doesn't last very long. It's like alcohol. Alcohol itself is a depressant. But when you drink it, it makes you a very happy man. But when it wanes off, you find that you slug into a position of even sleeping or going to bed. So, difficult clients to deal with. Success rate for me is not very, very encouraging, but you need to keep working on them. And it's from the time of adolescent age, from SHS to university levels where...
So the critical times, right?
Yeah, those are especially, yes, very critical times. Parents tend to think, oh, my child is fine, there's no problem. Oh, he's all right. But when he goes back to the colleges and to the schools, smoking of weed and all these sort of things ends up there. So you need headmasters and psychologists to be at the SHS level,
talking to them.
As for the university graduates, they are too big for us. But at the SHS, catch them very young, start talking to them. The psychologist has to be on campus to educate and tell them how you can deviate from normal life and end up somewhere, even though you've planned your life to be a doctor or a psychologist or whatever. So it's easy for you to deviate from there. In fact, our mothers have a responsibility. They tend to talk to our children a lot, you know, and they listen to their mothers too. Daddy hasn't got a lot of time. He's around all the place looking for money to look after the family. But mommy spends time, and they send their children to church, you know, listen to the pastor. And that keeps them away. When you are 25 and 30, you're almost an adult now. These things are not too much of a problem. But the younger age are the most
important thing.
Dangerous areas. Yes,
Bruce, you're a psychologist, clinical psychologist.
Yes.
Mr. Dsane made the point about having psychologists on campus to talk to the kids. Is this something that we do in Ghana? Is it common in Ghana? Do we have
no.
Psychologists in the secondary schools?
We don't even think about it at all. It's not our focus. It's not our focus.
But that's dangerous.
That's dangerous. So we need to introduce what we call preventive education or preventive counseling, where we go.
Well, you see, the sick bay provides medical care. You also have a psychologist there to talk to these children.
So it's not just physical ailments, but mental stuff as well.
No.
Okay.
You see, all schools, we call them mental institutions, where we have the cool and the aggressive. And so there might be a psychologist there
to handle things.
To handle the other way when their memory system is affected.
I wonder how many psychologists we even have in Ghana.
Quite a few.
Isn't it? But it's not enough, right? We need more.
We need more.
Before we go, this is something interesting that I've seen a couple of headlines here. Democracy Hub and CPP sue for the removal of Kotoka's name from Ghana's international airport. What do you think of this? I'll start with Prof. Bruce first. Kotoka is in the news now. He's part of our heritage, whether we like it or not. And CPP and Democracy Hub say, listen, we don't need the name of somebody who overthrew the first president on the name of our airport. First place you land to in Ghana, you see the man's name there, and then so they are suing to drop his name from the airport. You think it's a worthwhile exercise, or they're just wasting their time?
Oh well, it's the same country we said, a country that does not honor her heroes. It's not a country worth dying for. For these people to take that action, I think they have some information which they must discuss with people.
Let me read their statement. It's dated 24th February, which symbolically was the day that Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. Yesterday, and it was the anniversary. On this historic day, Democracy Hub, in collaboration with the Conventional People's Party, has filed a lawsuit at the Supreme Court of Ghana seeking the removal of Kotoka's name from Accra International Airport. This legal action is part of a broader effort to correct historical injustice, challenging the glorification of unconstitutional rule and reaffirm Ghana's commitment to democratic governance. The 1992 Constitution of Ghana firmly rejects coup d'etat, making it a duty of every citizen to defend democracy against military interventions. However, for 59 years, Ghana has lived with the contradiction of denouncing coup d'etat while continuing to honor one of the architects of the first military overthrow of an elected government. The continued veneration of Lieutenant General Emmanuel Koshi Kotoka, the man whose actions helped overthrow Ghana's 1960 constitution and derail the country's democratic progress, is an unacceptable contradiction. The naming of Kotoka International Airport, enshrined under the General Kotoka Trust Decree 1969, is a state-sanctioned endorsement of an illegal regime change. It is time for Ghana to make a clear statement that it stands against unconstitutional rule, not just in rhetoric but in practice. Democracy Hub also expresses its profound gratitude to the team of lawyers at Merton and Everett LLP for their industry commitment and painstaking work in making this case possible. This lawsuit is the result of rigorous and painstaking legal and archival research. Democracy Hubs calls on all Ghanaian civil society organizations, youth activists, and defenders of democracy to support this legal challenge. This is more than a court case. It is a national reckoning with our past and a reaffirmation of our commitment to the rule of law. The fight for democracy is the fight for Ghana's future. Signed, Democracy Hub. So those are the details in their lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very, very fine. Personally, I don't know Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Okay.
Even the year he died, I was very small.
1972.
So when I grew up and became politically conscious, all that I heard about Kwame Nkrumah was purely negative. That he was Kankanyami, he was this, he was that. Everything negative. That his statue was broken down and he didn't do anything for a country. He went and borrowed money to construct the Akosobo Dam. Everything, all that he did, they attached some kind of negative label to all of them. But I changed my mind when I bought this book written about him, the biography of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah.
Right.
His picture is on that book. Reading that book, it was then that I felt pity for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. That he left power before he even started learning how to drive. And it was a woman who was teaching him how to drive a car. How can you sacrifice yourself to that point? But all these things, they are hidden in our books. So for that name to be changed, I am not against removing Kotoka or leaving it there.
So you are indifferent?
Yeah, I'm indifferent.
Okay.
Let's honor people who we should honor for the good things that they have done for Ghana. If this is the time we will realize that no, all that we say about Kwame Nkrumah as wrong was not the right thing, and this is the truth, and this is the reason why we want to resurrect his memory, let us do it.
Okay, so you are indifferent to the name.
I'm indifferent.
Mr. Johnny, what do you think? You think his name staying there is...
I would like to support the group that wants to have his name in there.
Okay.
All of a sudden, Kwame Nkrumah seems to be the McCoy. Ghana seems to be looking more at him now than before. Because after 50-something years, we now realize that this man did so much for Ghana. Building the Akosobo Dam, building the Tamahabo, the motorway, all these industrial hubs that you see around North Carnation and South what we call
industrial area.
The whole city of Tema was built by Kwame Nkrumah. It's an incredible character, not only for Ghana, but for the whole of Africa. And I suspect that going to live in the United States or in America at the time where the Black Power movement was very high with Martin Luther King and all that, he saw how black people were being maltreated. He thought he needed to come back to Ghana and do something to change Africa, so to speak.
So you agree with the name change?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We're out of time. What do you think? Let us know. 055-556-1034. Conversation is done. Still to come, conversations on challenges of digital content creation in Ghana with Jay and his guests. And then we're also discussing family welfare, custody and domestic violence in Ghana. Valerie and Mr. Ampao have that conversation in a short while. First Choice High Protein Recovery is a milk-based drink aimed at people like you, and you need to get a box to just enjoy and refuel, rehydrate, repair. You have 8 added vitamins. It's high in calcium, it's tartrazine free, and it's more than twice the protein found in normal milk. Get some right now. There's a number that I want to give you that you can call to order bulk purchase, 027-985-9999. My name is Kafui Dsane. Mr. Kuuku Dsane was my guest, John Kuuku Dsane, and Mr. Prof. Daniel Bruce was also a guest of mine. And you've been watching GTV Breakfast. Stick around, don't go anywhere. There's more ahead.
Thank you.